And finally, we hear from Stephen Sturk, a composer, conductor, and musicologist, on the history of music in the Mission era and the connection with St. Joseph. We join Stephen in the choir loft of the Mission Church.
Oh, hi. The story of the California missions is truly a fascinating one, but the story of music in the California missions is even more captivating. We'll get to the music in a moment, but first, a brief background on the founding of the missions. Alta California, which is approximately the modern state of California, was the last frontier of Spanish colonization, and resources were slim. The king turned once again to the idea of missionary settlement, an idea that had served Spain very well in Mexico and South America. They would send 2 soldiers and a small band of friars whose aim was to teach and convert the natives, essentially making them colonists of their own land. This pattern was to be repeated all the way from San Diego to Sonoma, with missions established about a day's journey apart. Devotion to St. Joseph by the early California friars began on the very day Father Junipero Serra set foot in San Diego in March of 1769. As you've already heard from Father Joe, Serra's expedition party was awaiting the arrival of a supply ship, without which they would have had to abandon their mission and turn back. In answer to prayer, the supply ship miraculously appeared on March 19th, the feast of St. Joseph. To show his gratitude to St. Joseph, Father Serra promised to sing a high mass on the 19th of every month, a practice he continued to the end of his life. Now you have to imagine what a task it must have been for these early friars to achieve colonization. Incidentally, nearly all of the friars who served in California were originally from Spain. They came first to Mexico City before being assigned to colonize Alta California. So here are Spanish friars attempting to teach the native Indian population the Spanish language and European agricultural techniques. In order to convert them to Catholicism, the friars naturally used music. Now we have friars, not necessarily trained musicians themselves, teaching the natives how to sing and play instruments, which they undoubtedly also had to make. Oh, and add another language, the Latin of the Mass, to the subjects to be taught. Just contemplating the incredible tasks these fathers accomplished makes my head spin. There's a beautiful book called Mission Music of California, compiled by Father Owen da Silva at Santa Barbara Mission in 1941. Surprisingly, after 80 years, this remains an important source of information for mission music scholars. Father da Silva names about a dozen friars as important musical figures during the mission period, but he reserves the position of premier mission musician for Padre Narciso Duran. Padre Duran came to California in 1806 and was assigned to Mission San Jose. There's St. Joseph again. He spent 27 years at San Jose training choirs and orchestras. But his greatest contribution was composing, collecting, and hand copying a huge manuscript of compositions now called the Duran Choir Book. The prologue to his choir book, dating from 1813, is perhaps the most important surviving document of mission music. The prologue presents musical problems encountered by Padre Duran and gives his ingenious solutions. Because our bigger subject is St. Joseph, I'd like to read Padre Duran's dedication to the prologue. And remember, this was written while Duran was assigned to Mission San Jose. Dedication to the most blessed among men, to the most happy among mortals, to the King of the saints, the most holy patriarch, St. Joseph. In closing, we're going to give you a sample of music from Duran's choir book, a hymn for Vespers on the Feast of St. Joseph. The Latin title is Te Joseph Celebrant, and this is a copy of a page from the actual manuscript that sits in the Bancroft Library at University of California, Berkeley. The Latin title is Te Joseph Celebrant. A brief translation is, "Let angels chant your praise, pure spouse of purest bride. Grant us, great Trinity, for Joseph's holy sake, in highest bliss and love, above the stars to reign." The friars from Spain would have known Gregorian chant, and this hymn is found in the standard Latin chant book, the Liber Usualis. But some of those chants are challenging to learn, and hence this might have been one of the motivations for the friars to compose new music that was more accessible to the native peoples in Alta California. Te Joseph Celebrant is composed in a very simple style, only 2 voice parts, almost entirely in parallel thirds. Much of the music in Duran's choir book is in a similar style. Although the choir book music is all in Padre Duran's hand, no authors are identified. However, a long tradition has assigned Padre Duran as the composer of much of the choir book's contents. The friars might have brought these melodies from Spain, but research has not yet revealed any European sources for these charming pieces. So I think it is safe to say that this music is genuinely homegrown in California. We have this lovely CD made here in Mission San Luis Rey 25 years ago, celebrating the bicentennial of this mission. And Te Joseph Celebrant is among the many pieces recorded on this lovely CD, available in our gift shop. Te Joseph Celebrant Domina Celicum, tecum tire resonet, Christi adulcori, qui clarus meritis iunctus esiclite, casto ferere vigili. Tu natum Dominum stringis ad exterras, et gliti profugum. Tu sequeris plagas, abisum solimis queris et impetis. Miscens gaudia fletibus. Nobis matrias pace precatibus, da Iosef meritis, sideras scandere, ut talem lice
so much, Stephen, for sharing your love of music and history with us. Thank you so much to all of our presenters. I hope you enjoyed our series celebrating St. Joseph, a beloved, tender, loving, obedient, accepting, creatively courageous, working father and patron of the Universal Church. I invite you all to visit the Mission Church on Friday, March 19th, the feast day of St. Joseph, and say a prayer or a rosary in front of the beautiful painting hanging in the church, and receive a special prayer card celebrating the year of St. Joseph. Peace and all good.